Hello everyone, this video is about how to deal with toxic people. Here are 18 ways to deal with difficult people or toxic people. Toxic people keep us drenching from time to time with their poison. Toxic people look like and talk like everyone else and can be disguised as your best friend, family member or partner. Toxic people are master manipulators, skilled liars, and tend to create unnecessary drama. Every time you encounter or hang out with them, you feel exhausted, emotionally drained, and feeling negative. They are abusive, unsupportive, or unhealthy emotionally, someone who brings you down more than up. You may begin to feel dependent on them for their opinion, doubting your own. They are often the driving force behind a conflict and negatively affect the people around them. Some are blissfully unaware of the negative impact they create, while others seem to derive satisfaction from creating chaos and pushing other people's buttons. Either way, they create unnecessary complexity, strife, and worst of all, stress. Studies have found that people in toxic relationships had an increased risk of heart problems, including fatal heart attacks. It can be tempting to deal with toxic people the same way they treat others. However, this never works. It can make them feel like victims. It is important to identify them first and then control them or eliminate them using the following techniques. Number 1. Stop pleasing them. The toxic people figured out a long time ago that decent people will go to extraordinary lengths to keep them pleased and happy. One day they will be lovely and nice to you, and the next day you will find them upset, cold, or rude with you for no obvious reason. And you will find yourself making excuse or doing everything to make them happy. And it works for them most of the time. So, if your attempts to please them are not working for a long time, maybe it is time to stop pleasing them. Just walk away and come back only when their mood has shifted. Number 2. Stop playing into their reality. Respectfully disagree with them. Toxic people are negative complainers and want to project themselves as victims in every situation. If they mess up, they might shift the blame to someone else or tell a story that paints them in a more positive light. You might feel tempted to nod or smile in order to prevent an angry outburst. But it simply encourages them to see you as a supporter and get you involved in their problems. You can respectfully disagree with them and stick to the facts without making accusations. Number 3. Avoid conflict. Put the fight for another day. Toxic people will try to create a conflict and draw you in it and leave you severely damaged. They might accuse you of wronging them or not caring about their needs. In this case, don't get emotional and resist or defend yourself against their accusations. Simply walk out and leave the fight for another day. You can respond to it later when the time is right. Number 4. Distance yourself when necessary. Toxic people want you to join in solving their problems. They want you to listen to their pity stories and complaints and expect you to show some sympathy or sensitivity. But there is a fine line between lending a sympathetic ear and getting sucked into their negative emotional spiral. You can avoid this by setting limits and distancing yourself when necessary. A great way is to ask them how they intend to fix the problem. They will either quiet down or redirect the conversation in a productive direction. Number 5. Establish boundaries to control chaos. Toxic people think that no one can control the chaos they create. This could not be further from the truth. Once you find a way to rise above a person, You will begin to find their behavior more predictable and easier to understand and control. And if you let them play openly, you are bound to engage in difficult conversations. But if you set boundaries and decide when and where to engage with a difficult person, you can control much of the chaos. Number 6. Ignore in some cases. You have to learn the dynamics of ignoring a toxic person. A toxic person craves attention all the time, even when it is an occasion to celebrate another person's accomplishments. They will get loud and they will interrupt other people. That said, if you choose to ignore them, make sure there are plenty of other people around, because sometimes, if you have been submissive to the toxic person for a long time and you find yourself alone with them, then ignoring them will not work. You can only ignore toxic people when you are in public, because in public they tend to hide aggressive retaliation and they are less likely to become angered. Number 7. Don't share secrets with gossipers. Toxic people will share deep secrets with others just to seem momentarily interesting, and they will frequently judge or gossip about people behind their backs. If you meet somebody who does this, don't be fooled into thinking that they are gossiping with you because they like you or trust you. They will just as easily betray your trust. Toxic people will often talk to you about someone in the hopes that you will agree with them. Then they will go and tell the other person what you said. This creates friction between the two people, leaving the toxic person in control. It's a divisive and manipulative method of gaining friends or power in a social group. Don't fall for it. Number 8. Ignore insults. Toxic people love to insult others, and they do this in a subtle way. Toxic people will often attempt to disguise insults with compliments. They will say things like, "I would never have the confidence to wear that," or "You do well when you try." Although these may sound like kind statements, they are dropping little seeds of doubt in your mind. Learn to hear the truths behind the veil of compliments and then ignore them. You will know you have grown when you actually laugh at what they say. But just be careful, because laughing tends to make them angry. Number 9. Allow liars to trip themselves up. Toxic people lie compulsively, not just to others but to themselves. They will often perform mental gymnastics to convince themselves that their lies are reality. Recounting a true event is relatively easy, but lies are actually very hard to keep up. Keeping track of a bunch of their made-up stories is difficult, and liars end up exposing themselves over time by contradicting themselves with their lies. Number 10. Stand up to bullies. While most decent people will help the helpless, defend the vulnerable, and assist those who need it, toxic people prey on anybody they consider to be weak. It could be somebody who is little shy, socially awkward, or even somebody who lacks physical prowess. Toxic people will bully and take advantage of anybody who they think would not stand up to them, which is why it is crucial to stand up to bullies, not just for yourself, but for others around you. Standing up to bullying is perhaps the most important way of handling a toxic person. Number 11. Stay aware of emotions. You cannot stop someone from pushing your buttons anytime, but you should recognize your emotions in order to maintain emotional distance. Sometimes you will find yourself in situations where you will need to regroup and choose the best way to move forward. When it comes to dealing with a toxic person, it is very important to assess and know your emotional state. This way, if you are really on edge, you can avoid contact, rather than being pushed into a reaction that you will regret later. Number 12. Focus on solutions, not problems. Toxic people are often the first to place blame when something goes wrong. You will have to dodge the power of a toxic person by providing solution to a problem rather than just focusing on the guilty party. When you help to make something right, whether you had anything to do with it or not, it shows that you are compassionate, protective, and loyal, and this will always beat toxic people. Number 13. Avoid negative talk. Sometimes you absorb the negativity of other people. There is nothing wrong with feeling bad about how someone is treating you, but your self-talk can either intensify the negativity or help you move past it. Negative self-talk is unrealistic, unnecessary, and self-defeating. It sends you into a downward emotional spiral that is difficult to pull out of. Make a conscious effort to avoid negative self-talk at all costs. Number 14. Spend time with loyal friends. It is important to develop a strong support network of loyal and trustworthy people. Intelligent people know that they don't have to be everybody's friend, and not everybody deserves their friendship. In turn, they reward their friends' loyalty and trust by showing that it works both ways. True friendship and fidelity is one of the rarest and most valuable commodities you will ever have in life. So don't allow this to be corrupted by toxic, negative, and untrustworthy people. Number 15. Don't waste energy on pointless debate with toxic people. Some toxic people have a need to start conflict with anybody who is willing to accept their invitation to argue. Even worse, there is often no point to the arguments that toxic people start. There is no desire to have a healthy debate or come to a consensus, and intelligent people are quick to recognize this. Your best response is to simply disengage or to ignore the attempts altogether. Number 16. Stay goal-oriented. Toxic people can be very distracting. This can cause you to lose mental and emotional focus. Do your best to shake it off. Instead, keep steering things back to your goal or the problem that needs to be solved. Toxic people are not stupid, and once they realize you are not affected by them, they will typically back off. Number 17. Remember the right to be happy. It is fully within your rights to be a happy person who associates with emotionally healthy people. While it is nearly impossible to ignore what others think of you, you don't have to compare yourself to others, and you can always take people's opinions with a grain of salt. This way, no matter what toxic people are thinking or doing, your self-worth comes from within. Number 18. Put yourself first. Toxic people will always use you to get their advantage or financial gains. Most often, they will manipulate you by unfair means. Sometimes it happens because you care your relationship with them. Whatever the case is, you should stop supporting them and put yourself first. You need to take care of yourself, and this cannot happen when you are giving everything to them without expecting anything in return. Okay guys, implementing these techniques will allow you to handle difficult and toxic people more effectively and decrease the likelihood of their ill effects on you. What do you think? How do you deal with difficult and toxic people? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it thumbs up and share it with your friends. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.